everyone! Welcome back to the last part of this Umberhood Castle build that I made. This video is going to be focusing on the third and fourth floors, which is the last two floors of this castle. So I'm super excited that it's finally done and finished and is completely in public and released. But I'm going to say that these last two floors that I work on is actually, I think it's my favorite one. I think it's just the how the floor layout, how I did it, I think it's super spacious, or I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's the floor plan of the third and fourth floor, or is it the natural lighting that makes it really nice, or it could be a whole bunch of greenery that I added in, but I'm not so sure. But I think in the end, after I completely finished this castle, I took a look at it one more time, like I normally do, once I finish the castle, and I was admiring so much of specifically the third floor. I think it's just because of the courtyard that I ended up building was really nice and really pretty when you go onto the third floor and then you make a left from the staircase and then you just see the really nice courtyard that I made, which you'll see later on when I add more greeneries and then a little bit more landscaping and some exterior decorations in the courtyard. But I just thought that this would just be really nice to just add some greenery, especially since I chose the sim world to put this lot, which is the Oasis Spring. It was either Oasis Springs or Strangerville to place this, and I think I mentioned it in the previous part. I don't remember which part, but it probably was the very first part of when I was doing this castle. But it was between those two worlds because it has that really deserty kind of vibe, which was the idea that I was going for in this castle because there is a lot of big open windows and a lot of arch. I think it's the arch doorways that I chose that kind of gives it that. I really don't know what word to kind of call that architecture kind of vibe. Like Arabian? I don't really think it could be Arabian because in the vibe that I had when I was building this castle was kind of a little bit like a mixture of Aladdin, at the same time also a mixture of in the forest. I don't really know, but to me, this castle kind of just gives me the vibe that it's close by to there is an. I mean, it makes sense. The sim world is called Oasis Springs, so there's an oasis close by, which to me, when there's an oasis, which close by, which means there's water, and when there's water, that means there's greenery. So that was why that I ended up just putting a good amount of greenery in this build, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a just to pop it out a little bit more, especially when you're looking at it on the exterior part. And I really think it turned out really well, especially with the backdrop of this lot that I ended up choosing, which I'm pretty sure I mentioned before, but I'll repeat again. This is on a 50 by 50 lot in Oasis Springs. So if you're not familiar with this lot, it's the lot that has so there's two lots on, I believe, well, actually, one of them is a little bit bigger now that I'm looking at it. But the 50 by 50 has that really nice backdrop of the sandy mountains and the rocky boulders in the background. I think it's just a really nice location for this castle specifically. And I really admired it a lot, especially when I was inside a lot of the rooms. And then when you just kind of look out those really big windows that I have scattered throughout the castle, it just looks really nice. But I think let's just go back to the floor plan. So the third floor, it's has the courtyard that I mentioned before. But it also has two bedrooms, I would say. I wouldn't really say it's two separate bedrooms. There's a sitting area suite that's connected to the two bedrooms that you can kind of see on the screen here. where it has where it, so to me when I was building this side of the castle, I don't know why, but I was just thinking about like two siblings again that live on this side of the castle, and I think it was just how I built it kind of gives it that kind of vibe. So it can really be like two siblings that are really close together. They're really close. They have like close bond, and then they just like to just live like sleep close by just because they just like to be together all the time. So that was the kind of vibe that I kind of had when I was doing these two bedrooms that I'm working on in the video right now. But then I was like, it could technically also be like a guest room as well too. Like if a family, like an extended family member, happens to just come by to visit this royal family, they have a place to stay. But yeah, I think it was just because of how I used a lot of the arched doorways. It kind of makes it really feel like it's. Hey, I think it's like it gives it that resort vibe. It could just be because I added a lot of greenery, so it kind of really feels like you're on vacation. Or it could just be like the furnitures that I chose. But I kind of gave it that vibe, that like safari-ish kind of vibe. Because I don't know, that was what I was thinking. Where it's, is it the raton? I think that's how you pronounce it. Raton furniture. I don't know. It's like that was the kind of furniture that came in mind, especially when I was like playing a lot of like Animal Crossing, and that Raton furniture collection that's in like Animal Crossing. That was the vibe that I was getting in when I was making these like bedrooms, like specifically this bedroom here that like is more the white and orange kind of color scheme color scheme that I decided to choose in this bedroom. But I was, this specific bedroom with the white and the orange or yellowish, you would say, I was having a little bit of a harder time choosing the color for this room just because I wanted it to be very different from the red room, like the other bedroom that I decorated earlier, or like that I furnished earlier. I wanted to give it like more of a contrast color, and I really liked this bed frame that I chose. What bed frame is this from actually? Is it from Oh, it's from For Rent. Well, that makes sense. It's it's from like a hot, humid area. So like the furniture fits really nicely with this lot that I was going for. So it I don't know. I think it was just it could just be me, but I think for Reds, like a lot of I think the theme that they were going for was that like raton. I really don't know how to pronounce that. You guys can really just tell me how it's pronounced. Oh God, I just literally poked myself in the face and it hurts. I think I poked myself a little too hard there. But anyways, but in the end, I decided like out of all of the color schemes in that bed frame, I think the one that like really looked the best was the white and the orange, and I think it kind of gave it that like luxurious kind of vibe. You know what I was saying? You know what I mean? It just kind of gave it that luxe feeling. I don't even know if I should be saying luxe or luxurious, or they kind of are they are kind of the same thing, or they kind of are the same meaning, I think. But so for the since like the bedrooms, these two bedrooms that I was talking about, they don't really have a connecting bathroom, so I decided to just make them like a personal separate bathroom that's like close by to them. So it's really just right across the hallway of where they're living at. And they have all the essentials. They have the really big bathtub and like the sink and the toilet and all that stuff. I didn't really add a shower. Like, I know I added like a shower on the first floor and like one of the baths down there, but I only added that bath or that shower there just to help divide the two like toilets or two sinks. I don't like I I added that shower there just to help divide it a little bit because there were two doors entrances into that one bathroom. So having like some kind of divider there makes kind of sense. And I wanted to at least add like a bathtub or a shower or something, not just only like a toilet, just so servants or the gentleman in waiting or the lady in waiting on the lower floor, they can actually like go clean themselves, like wash up and all that stuff. But did I have another bathroom down there? I felt like I might have. I don't really remember. I'm gonna have to go back to the videos and double check again. But yeah, I decided that since this bathroom is a little bit more isolated, I don't know what it is. I think I just like adding like those ivy walls on the walls in bathrooms for some reason. To me, it just kind of just reminds me of like people put like pathos plants or in their bathrooms just because it's so humid and super moist in the bathroom, especially when you have no windows as well too. So having like pathos in the bathroom that's super humid and like hot and warm, it's like perfect to have in there. So that was what I was getting at when I was adding those ivies on the walls. But now I'm kind of like moving past the courtyard. I didn't work on the courtyard until much, much later just because I wanted to do mostly the rooms first. And then once I kind of finish mostly the rooms, then I kind of go back to a little bit more the exteriors of the castle. Not the main exteriors, kind of more like the courtyard or like the courtyard hallways. Again, oh, speaking of that, from the last time I was bitching about like that's kind of those rooms that had those like big archways and they kind of is a courtyard, but they're not really a courtyard. I kind of looked into that. I still don't know what it is. Like I think it's from the last time I looked it up, I it started with an A. You know what? Let me just kind of look it up again. Like, what is the room's called with multiple arch doorways? It's not a foyer. And when I first looked at it, thought it was also it's so what I looked up, the first one of the first things that came up was vestibule. Vestibule is Vestibule. I which on Wikipedia, it says that it's technically can also be called an anteroom, an antechamber, or a foyer. A foyer. But it's when I was looking at the images on Wikipedia, that does not look like what I had in mind. You know, maybe I should look at arches, like arch doorways, and where is it usually used for? Like what rooms? Um, yeah, I really don't know. But it's just like it's basically those rooms where imagine like it's a hallway and one wall of the hallway is just a whole bunch of arch doorways that you can see that you can have access to outside. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I really don't know what it's really called, but maybe you guys can tell me because maybe I'm just not looking it up right, like on Google. But anyways, so the current room that I actually am working on right now, I was debating on what kind of room this is, whether it should be like another hobby room, or it should be like something else. I decided I wanted to make like a greenhouse a little bit, especially since thinking about the setting of this castle where it's in a really desert area and it's hot, middle of nowhere, there's not a lot of water besides where they are. And as a royal family, I would think they want to have more greenery, to be surrounded by greenery instead of through like deserts and all that stuff. But I don't know, it could just be me. But I thought treating this greenhouse would be really nice to just have pretending where your royal family is obviously overseas. They can't really export or import a lot of resources to where they are, especially since they're in the middle of nowhere and the only big source of resources that they really have is like water in the middle of a desert. So I thought that if they could treat that like greenhouse room as a room where they have medicinal herbs or just anything that they need for their needs, you know? But yeah, that's what I don't know. That was what I thought of when I made that like greenhouse room. And I had like, there was like a balcony that it was connected to. So I just added like a small seating area that I thought was really cute and really nice for your Sims to kind of have like a nice tea party. Well, after they kind of look through the greenhouse and then they make their way to like the table out there in the balcony for them to sit. But now we're moving on to the fourth floor, which is the last floor, finally. And really, this last floor is the big main private quarters for the king and queen, or like, you know, the monarch that's ruling the sim world here for you. So, this I actually had a little bit of a harder time with the floor plan on the fourth floor because they have the big courtyard in the middle between the two horizontal rooms on the fourth floor. I had to decide on where the bathroom's going to be or where the bedroom's going to be and if they should be together or if they should be separated. And I decided that they're just going to be separated instead. Like that whole fourth floor is really just going to be for them, really. So one horizontal room on one side is really going to be their bedroom, their private quarters. And I decided I kind of like the vibe of one of the previous rooms that I have, which is like white and gold and yellowish. So I escalated, made it even further, and decided to just go really expensive and super luxurious all the way for their main private quarter bedroom for the monarch. So it's really a lot of the furnitures that I did choose in the bedroom here is mostly from Get Together. Oh, no, sorry, not Get Together, Get Famous. It's a lot of that. So but of course, like you can use like other furnitures besides like Get Famous to kind of make it more luxurious. It doesn't necessarily have to be like this white and gold color. Yeah, another color that I can think of that could be in that like deserty vibe would be, I would say, gold and red would be another good choice too. Because I think I was just gold and red for some reason would be a really nice color combination for this castle. But then like gold and red also kind of gives me a vibe of like Eastern royalty as well too, which eventually I am gonna make like an Eastern royal family as well too. Like I have like a huge like inspiration storytelling I have in mind for this like Isekai fantasy save file that I have. And I feel like it's kind of slowly getting out of hand because I have so many ideas that I want to put in. And I feel like it might be a little bit too much, a little bit, or a little too overwhelming for the storytelling. But I think like the goal that I actually really want to do in the save file is basically to make a sim world that I really love. And once it's like completed, then I actually like would be able to like have fun and like make like a sim household and like really just play through the save file that I really have. And I was while I was thinking about all these great ideas, I was also thinking about a lot of like some mods that I actually want to input, and I actually do have one in mind, and I have a feeling that it's going to take a lot of time to kind of work on this. So I can say that, I mean, I can't really say too much because I really don't know how long it really is going to take, but I do have a mod in mind that I really want to make, and I think I'm really just going to go for it and really work on it, no matter how long it actually takes. I think I'm super determined to kind of want to make this mod, and I'm actually really excited to want to share it with you guys. I just don't want to uh, tell you guys just yet because I feel like I'm super aspirational about like the idea I have in mind, but I'm also know that there's gonna be a lot of changes from the beginning, like when I like doing a rough draft of what I want to do, until like when it gets close to like the final like finishing part of the this mod that I want to like once I make it and everything. But I guess like what I can say, like I have like a lot of I do have a lot of mods that I have in mind that I want to do. Like one of them is has to do with communication stuff, like communicating with like other Sims. Another one is like another like career mod that I want to do. Like I actually had a lot of fun doing or making like the Royal Chef career mod that I did earlier. It's a very, I would say it's a simple mod. It's probably one of the most simple mods that you can really make in The Sims. And like, I really am not an expert on making mods or coding or like game development or anything like that. This is just really just me, just really like The Sims, and I'm super passionate about The Sims, and I want to make mods for my Sim file, basically. And I really just think that because of like my passion of liking The Sims and like I want to make this like really nice save file for myself, I feel like I'm like I'm like determined to want to make the mod and like really finish it. I really don't know how long it's really gonna take, but because I don't have experience on any of it, I am just gonna have to do a lot of research and do the best I can to try to see if I can get it to work because it's a lot of things that I'm gonna be have to be learning from scratch, and it's gonna be a lot of Python, a lot of Blender, some coding as well too. So I feel like I'm really gonna be taking another course of I'm really gonna be taking a course of all this. But I know it's gonna be super worth it when it's all done. But so going back into the video, looks like I have completely finished the bedroom. I'm sorry about that. But right now, I also seems like I finished the bathroom as well, and I am working on the last room of the floor, which is the dressing room. That nook area, I was also having a little bit of a hard time of what to make that room to be. Originally, it was gonna be like that side of where that bathroom was. Originally, that was gonna be where the bedroom and the bathroom is gonna be. Like they have the bedroom and then a walk-in bathroom suite, but that bathroom is just way too small for their need, especially since it's like a royal family and it's the monarch and their partner living or sleeping in this floor. So I decided to just have one big room as their bedroom and another big room as their bathroom, and then they have like a walk-in dressing room or closet for them to get ready for whatever they're doing that day, whether it's going to be a grand ball or they have to meet somebody very important. They got to go there and get dressed, right? So then after I kind of, so after I finished the last bedroom, or not bedroom, the last room, which is like the dressing room, this is where I start working on the rest of the exteriors of the castle. So it's mostly all of the balconies, it's all the courtyards, it's also that hallway that has the extension that you can reach into the outdoors area like that I mentioned before earlier in the video. So there's a lot of me putting on a lot of plants and a lot of lighting. And I so there's a lot of people how people do a lot of lightings, how they furnish their lightings. And to me, lighting is really important to me, especially when it's at night. So, how I do lighting is I leave mostly the lighting at the very, very end, like once I have all the furnitures all set up and ready to go. And that's when so I use like the default ceiling light just so I can see what I'm doing in the room. Once I finish furnishing, I take out the default light and then I replace it with any like decor lights that I decide that I actually want to use to make it really aesthetically pleasing in the eye and make it look really nice and pretty when when your sim walks around. So a lot of the lightings that I do at that point is where I really go to at night and really just place all the lightings that I think really needs a lot of lighting. Because to me, like during the day, you don't have to do so much lighting during the daytime because, especially in the past builds that I've been doing, well, I only built two big castles, but like, and I only have two castles for me to say. But the two big castles that I have built so far, they've lighting didn't really matter so much specifically during the daytime, just because there's a lot of natural lighting going coming into the rooms, and I do utilize that um quite a lot, especially when I use those stained glass like roofs or like those glass roofs, and then the natural lighting kind of just reflects into the room really nice and pretty, so you kind of see that really pretty shadow of those glass like roofs. So that's when I really do utilize the natural lighting a lot during those times, and as well as like during my builds and stuff like that. But when it comes to specifically lighting, I switch to at nighttime, and then I put the lightings through that way just because I want to make sure that it's nicely lit at night, and it's when it like certain parts of the like area in the build that's supposed to be meant to be dark, it's intentional, I left it that way for it to be dark. That's just how I kind of just play around with lighting. I really don't do so much of lighting settings like you know what I mean, where when you're in live mode in the game and then you try to adjust the lighting through there that way. I really don't really touch on that so much, just because personally I just me as a person, and I think just me as a builder, I just like to have natural lighting a lot. Not unless like it's intentional where I want to make it the ambiance to be feel like it's like really like it's I'm meant to make it do that with intentional lighting, and that's like a different story. But usually for like my builds, I like to have a natural lighting and whatever light that kind of comes with it. And then plus like when you yourself, like if you were to kind of download a lot and then you place it down and then you play the lot, when you play in live mode, you're going to be adjusting the light yourself anyways. Because I mean, I'm assuming um not everybody in the sim community, but there are some people in the community that use like G shade or reshade in their gameplay, and like I'm actually one of those people that uses G shade or like reshade too in my gameplays and in my when I take screenshots and all that stuff too. Um, I don't really use an extreme amount of like I don't really use a lot of G shade or reshades for when I play The Sims and like during my gameplay or when I'm like doing my speed builds and all that stuff. Like I just use one really natural basic one that like I think is really nice on anything, and I just use that mostly all the time, not unless again I'm like taking a photo or recording something with intention, with like an ambiance intention in mind. But no, this is just a lot of natural lighting. To me, it's just like the less things for me to do, the better. Wouldn't you say? Like once you like download the lot, you just want to go ahead and start playing. You like I don't think you want to do so much of editing, not unless like you are like downloading like just just the shell of this castle, then that makes sense that you will have to do it all over again. But but that's kind of that was why I have both the shell and the fully furnished ones for people that in the community that if they don't have all the expansion packs, they can, but they still want to have the look or the shell of the castle. I have it there for you. There are some repeating like stuff packs and expansion packs that I do use a lot. But it's from what I got, like it's a lot of the older expansion packs that I have. So like I don't really use a lot of the newer ones. Like I think the most recent newest expansion pack that I really owned was for rent. I have like cottage core living as well too. Like those were the two big ones that were big, major, big purchase for me. Before I got like the vampires and the werewolves and all, the cult stuff, So I didn't do. It was mostly a lot of the older expansion packs that I usually use. So I would say a lot of the expansion packs and sub packs that I mostly use for, especially for my castle builds and some fantasy builds that I have, it's mostly get together. It's a lot of that. Like, just because I think the architecture in Get Together is like super like Edwardian or like English architecture kind of inspiration that I'm looking for in my castle builds or my fantasy builds. And another big one is like the castle estate. That one has a lot of the arch windows for castle building. I really wish there was a lot more to it. It just feels like it's a lot of like copy and paste of the same arch windows. And I wish they would add a little bit more. Like, I wish they had like maybe a couple or handful of like glass windows to be like a castle build because I think that would be so pretty. Wouldn't you think? Like have that like the glass windows, like castle glass windows, just gives me the vibe of Beauty and the Beast. And like that would be a really nice window to have for that kind of vibe. I'm sure I can find it on internet if I do some CC shopping, but again, I try to use not that many CCs as much as possible, especially with the exterior of the builds, like the windows and the doors and all that stuff. Like all of those I try to use base game or just like not base game. I don't really know if you would call it like just base game with expansion packs, but yeah, like I just try to just use windows and doors and like the wallpapers as much as possible that came with like the base game or the expansion packs. Just cause like not unless like it's really intentional of what I am building. Like there is actually this one CC wallpaper that I actually found while I was CC shopping not too long ago. And it's a really, really pretty Victorian mural wallpaper. And I think that's a really, really nice wallpaper to add on like some of my castle builds. So that would be one example of what I would download, like a CC item that I would download that I found on the internet and I would put it into my build. Like something unique and something different like that EA or like EA has not built and all that stuff. But here are all the screenshots of all of the rooms that I furnished on the third and fourth floor. I was gonna like put all of the screenshots of all of the builds like from the previous parts, but I feel like that's just way too much. And I technically kind of include all of my photos and all my screenshots on my Tumblr and my Patreon anyways. I think it's mostly on my Patreon because I think Patreon you can post more photos than on Tumblr. So you'll see all the photos and pretty much all the photos on Patreon. I need to double check on Tumblr on if you can post all of the photos on Tumblr. I think there's only a maximum of 30 photos that you can take, that you can upload onto a post. But no matter, somewhere in one of the links, they will have all the photos included in this whole entire castle. But oh my gosh, I gotta say, really, my favorite furniture or like my favorite. Oh, this shot's actually really pretty. That was just a coincidence. I just ended up working out that shot. But that I would say my favorite room that I actually decorated was say is a little bit of the two bedrooms that was connected with the suite and the I would say the monarch's bathroom. I think it was just how the layout of the bathroom I did, where it's there's that big jacuzzi bath, which I was like, is that an actual bathtub or is that like a jacuzzi? Because I think in the previous old sim games it was separated or like it was two completely different things and their needs are different. But I tested it out where the hot tub can you can technically use as just like pretend to use it as like a big luxurious royal tub that like Sims will go in and all that stuff. But I included the shots of the floor plan for each floors and the shots of the day and nights at different times of the day. But that's pretty much it for the video. I will see you guys on the next part, or not next part, but I'll see you guys in the next video of what build it will be. I haven't decided yet, but as soon as it's up, you will find out. So I'll see you guys in the next part or next video. Bye!